Forget trying to keep up with AI. It's moving too fast. It's time to think differently about it. Welcome to the AI Readiness Project, hosted by 𝗪𝗲 and 𝗪𝗵𝘆. They're here to help you build the mindset to thrive in an AI-driven world and prepare for what's next.
𝗪𝗵𝘆, what's happening?
Kyle Shannon.
Welcome everybody to the AI Readiness Project. Now, I don't know if you know this, but we normally have a different opening, and I'm normally not sitting in front of whatever I'm sitting in front of now. So I've been scrambling. So hey, Ann, how's it going?
Well, it's great. I have been having the best time the last, family-wise, we have had some delightful things going on. We had a high schooler graduate, so everybody's in town, and we're having all this delicious family time. But also, I've been having a wonderful time with my dad, who is a big fan of ChatGPT, and who has done. Yeah, and we've sat right next to each other, and I've watched, every step to kind of see, what kind of where his brain sends him. And we did some troubleshooting that reminded me of remember when they launched it and it was just, remember when Sam Altman launched ChatGPT and it was just like this little square in the middle, and you're like, no documentation, and you look at it and you're like, this can't possibly be the portal to the last 40 years of the internet. That just doesn't, it doesn't compute. So I have okay, Vicky. Yeah, we're working on some things still, Vicky. And did it work? Do you tell us? You let us know if it worked. But it's been a real delight to watch my dad's progression from being like really, really good thought partner with ChatGPT to like elite level. He's really? 82. Yeah, he's 82.
What kind of things is he doing with it?
Well, everything from, he just got multimodal. So now he's taking pictures of all the things, right? He kind of maxed out what could be done with just the free version. Yeah. So now he's like all of us, taking pictures of every damn thing and asking more questions. But particularly because he's into cars and other, electronic items, it's fun to be able to troubleshoot with that. We have a broken dryer. Nice. What else? We have something else that's broken in the house. Broken dryer, broken something else that's getting worked on. And then what he's been working on the past couple of days is some really deep, it's financial stuff, but it's also your value stuff, your legacy. So he's been having conversations that are like both the personal, and the values and the personality, but also like the analytical, the kind of black and white kind of stuff. And so, how it has all come together has been extremely helpful to him.
Wow. That's amazing. That's just amazing. So where are you now? Like, where are you? How ready for AI are you feeling? Like, where's your, with stuff, you might not be thinking about it at all, but where's
I have been, in particular, because I have thoughts and feelings right now about our relationships with AI. I've been talking about it a little bit, but the new advanced voice really brought some of these feelings to the fore again, as I noticed myself upset that Ember has a mild vocal fry now. The voice Ember is my voice, is my friend.
She was inspired by Sam Altman.
Yeah, exactly. No, for real. He's got this, like, it's just a little, but like any hint of vocal fry, can't handle it. So Ember's got a vocal fry. One of my friends was texting while she was camping because she was trying to talk to her AI, advanced voice, and all the voices had changed, and she was very, very sad. I've been looking into like how we identify with things and people based on sounds, and like the impact of voice on our like emotional connection to things is profound. It has to do with procreation and dominance. I mean, this is like, It has to do with class and power and a feeling of like, I'm like you or I'm not like you based on your voice, your tone, your accent, all this stuff. And so I do not feel like we as a society are ready for AI in the context of AI human relationships. We are not prepared for what's to come. We don't have enough therapists. We don't have enough coaches who have AI competency to deal with clients and patients who are in relationships, deep-seated, loving or respectful or whatever, trusting relationships with AI companions. And that's going to be all of us. And anyone who thinks it's not going to be them, okay, fine. But all your friends are, your family, your community, your clients. So it doesn't matter if you are, everybody else is.
Well, it's funny. I mean, I'm going to talk in the next segment. I'm going to talk about something that. Oh, now I'm getting an echo all of a sudden. I'm going to talk about something that that actually encourages people to dig deeper into that relationship. What you're talking about reminds me of I came up with the 5 stages of AI adoption that are kind of like the 5 stages of grief. Stage 3 is this stage of dual wonder and fear, right? Where the AI is awe-inspiring, right? And like the new voice is subtle and weird and really good. And at the same time, it also brings up like, oh, like, are we ready for this? And it's like, I think that feeling of this is the most awesome thing ever, and is this the worst thing ever? Like, I think we're gonna constantly have to hold those two things in our head, you know?
Yes. So the research that I was looking into, there were 2 studies. One was by OpenAI, and they clocked 40 million chat conversations for the study, and then the other was with MIT, and they had 1,000 people, but it was more nuanced, qualitative. What was the conversation like? And what they learned, this is so weird. What they learned is that if the user tended toward shorter conversations with advanced voice, they reported healthier emotional well-being. If they talked too much, that's when things started sliding downhill. So it's really interesting. And I think there's a 5-hour-a-day limit, because I left my advanced voice on the other day by accident and I hit a limit.
Rate limited out. Yeah.
The rate limited it out. So I don't know. I mean, obviously the jury's still out and those are just a couple of studies, but I guess if you were worried about it, you could be like, hey kids, you can talk to Jasper today, but only for half an hour.
Right. Or in short little spurts. Well, it's funny when you were saying there's not enough therapists and support people in the world to help people cope with this. Where my mind immediately went is, there will likely be specialized AIs that are those therapists, right? Like, so again, right now we're working with very primitive versions of these tools that are very generalized. So they can do everything from be our best friend to be our coach to be our counselor, things like that. I could see there being more sophisticated layers of this in the future where, hey, if I feel like I'm getting too wrapped up in this thing, let me pull up, the therapy bot, which is designed to, pull someone out of one of those relationships if it's getting unhealthy. But I don't know. Like, I think you're right. I don't think we're prepared for what's coming. And at the same time, does it mean we shouldn't do it? I mean, I look at what your father's doing right now, and that's remarkable stuff, right? And
he's
I don't know.
Here. I've been trying to I've been trying to get some work done today, Kyle, and my dad's out here talking to 𝗪𝗆 at full blast, like just, I mean, they're best friends. And I don't think that I would want my dad to not have this relationship. You know what I mean? I think that I've already seen how beneficial it is. Now, we're lucky because I can also say to my dad, hey, part of the reason why you feel connected to 𝗪𝗆 is because, you know, he talks like you.
Right.
You know, he sounds like he's about the same level of wealthy or not wealthy as you are. He sounds like he grew up, right? Like he has a trustworthy voice. The timbre of his voice is associated with trustworthiness. That's why you like talking to him. But there's all this research out. Like I love the line of the line of questioning around, does it matter if AI is sentient, if we feel like it's sentient? I am hard pressed to understand why it matters if it is or it isn't, if we feel it is.
I fully think it's an academic conversation. The academics will say, oh, it's more fundamental than that. It's not academic. But I agree. If humans are interacting with these things as sentient beings, then they're sentient beings for those people interacting. So I'm right there with you. It also, you know, one of the things that's tied into what you're talking about is the fact that ChatGPT now has long-term memory. The fact that I think that the memory at this point is a year, and I assume that will expand to like all time. These things are going to get better and better and better at giving you what you want because it knows your history. It's going to be like your friend that remembers everything, right? Sometimes you may want that, sometimes you may not, but it's not just that it is technically kind of like a human and that it sounds like them. It's that now they've got the context of everything you've ever talked about. And so I think this goes quite deep, right?
Yes. And by the way, for people who are listening, if you don't happen to know this, you can remove some of the memories from ChatGPT memories. If you go into your personal settings and then it says like personalized ChatGPT and you go in there, if it has a whole bunch of memories that are like, you know, the one day you were randomly talking about flying tacos and you don't want it to keep kind of pulling toward that, you can remove those memories. And I've gone through a couple of times and just removed them all because all of them were weird because maybe like if I've been doing a lot of client work or whatever, it's just not relevant. On the other hand, so that's a nice thing for us to be in control of. I did hear, I think today, that in the law, due to the lawsuit between OpenAI and the New York Times, our deleted chats will now be kept not for 30 days, but for like indefinitely.
Indefinitely.
So, indefinitely.
And not only including our deleted chats and our temporary chats.
Oh, the temporary too?
Yeah.
Oh, I wasn't worried about it with the deleted because the temporary is I thought temporary was like on the DL. Huh.
Yeah.
That's not
Oops.
Good. Oops. I need to get a more interesting life before I worry about any of this stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Whenever I think about that stuff, I'm like, yeah. Well,
are you gonna tell us how AI ready you are when you talk about the one thing to pay attention to?
I think so. I've had a breakthrough in the past 2 weeks around AI, and it's funny that what you brought up was how uncomfortable you are about how deep your relationship is with AI. But here's where I want to. Part of this, Anne, is me just articulating it because this is kind of a new idea, so I don't have it super formed. So part of this is I'd love just your reaction to it, but I think it's also super interesting in the context of what you just brought up. So I've got a new keynote presentation that I put together. I literally just gave it the hour before this, and it's going to be a book, and it's called Feed Your Prompt. Feed Your Prompt. And the basic idea is this. The prompt is hungry. It wants anything you can feed it, right? And I'm not just talking about ChatGPT. This could be your image tool, a music tool, like any prompt. But AI prompts are hungry. They want what you give them. One of the things that we do is we treat AI like it's a genius. Well, if I put anything in that prompt, it's going to give me back brilliance. But AI is not a genius. But what AI is it's an amplifier. So whatever you put in, it amplifies. So if you put in what I call an it prompt, you put in just you treat it like a tool, like ChatGPT is like just this tool, and you're just like, write me a blog post about raising money for nonprofits. It will write you a blog post about raising money for nonprofits. But if it's an amplifier, what do you have it amplify? Well, the ultimate thing you have it amplify is you. And so what you put into the prompt is you. And what does that mean? You put in your ideas, your dreams, your point of view, your druthers, right? Your questions, your challenges. And then it will take your ideas and whatever you're doing, and it will amplify you. And one of the things that I think we've seen just organically happen within our communities, within the salon and She Leads AI, is people are getting like unreasonably excited and empowered because all of a sudden they realize that their ideas can now be brought into the world, and often in ways that were never possible before. So my whole thing is about putting more of yourself into the prompt, because what it will do is amplify you. So it's shifting from thinking of AI as this tool that you use like Google. I put something in, I get something out, and more like a creative collaborator. And what you do is use it to amplify your desires, your ideas, your dreams, all that sort of stuff. And it opens up and blossoms. So that's kind of the base of it.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts?
Well, I mean, you know how I feel about prompting in general, which is that it's important and it's a good idea. And I like that this, and it should be done, and that we shouldn't expect ChatGPT or any other, AI model to, it's not an easy button, right? It's not a magic bullet. Like, we have to pour into it. And I like that, the notion of feeding your prompt, and that it is hungry, and we know that it does want to please us. So pouring that into it is authentically, Joe. Yeah, that book is going to be good. Put me on the wait list. I think that I think that this is where some of the way we've been conditioned in life will become really important. For example, I think I said this the other day, lots of people have never been asked to share their point of view.
Yes.
You know what I mean? They don't know how to. Why would anyone care? Why, even this non-sentient being, why would anyone give a shit what I have to say? Right?
Yes.
And they've never been in a position to give someone instructions. Like, I was thinking about with my dad, for example, and we had administrative assistants, we had EAs. We know how to share what's needed in order for the context to, be thorough enough for the person to make good autonomous decisions. My dad knows how to do that. He spent his whole life doing that. He's also a mechanic, so he knows how to do it. And so when he talks to ChatGPT, he tells the whole story, right? He says, I'm working in the garage, and and I'm freezing, and I just simply cannot try this one more time. I'm embarrassed to ask you, but this fuse, that fuse, my end goal here is that blah, 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 blah. He doesn't say, ask it one little thing at a time. He pours it all in, because that's how he's used to communicating. It is in part because he's a white male in the United States of America. He's used to people listening to what he has to say.
He's mansplaining to the ultimate mansplaining machine.
He's mansplaining to the mansplainer. So exactly. We got to all feel comfortable mansplaining now.
So the question, Jennifer, what platform do you use? ChatGPT. The way I'm thinking about this feed your prompt concept is that it's for any prompt, for any tool. So it could be ChatGPT, it could be Claude. Is there a negative thing about sharing too much of you? It depends what you want out of the system, right? Like, I don't think there's necessarily a risk about it, but to Anne's point earlier about about memory and managing memory. There are times if I want to generate an image in ChatGPT, it actually now generates that image knowing all of the conversations that we've had. So sometimes I'll put turtles in my images for the AI Learning Lab. And so sometimes it just randomly throws turtles in my images, right? So if I don't want that, I have to turn that memory off. So I think that, I don't know that there's necessarily a negative about sharing too much of yourself. I think it's, you know what you want to get out of the system, and it's your job to say, are you getting that or not, right? So you have this back and forth conversation. As these things remember more of what we talk about, I think that we're going to have to become increasingly aware of that it knows all that stuff. And there's times when you want that, and there's times that you don't. And Anne, to your point about people not used to putting their point of view out there, one of the things, as I've been talking about this with different people, one of the things that I'm hearing consistently now is I'll say, well, you know, like when ChatGPT gives you back something that you don't like, do you yell at it? Do you tell it you don't like what it gave you? And very often people are like, oh no, you can do that? So I don't even think there's necessarily an awareness that this is a back and forth conversation. I think Google has us so trained up to put in the minimal amount in that chat box as possible, and what you get back is what you get back, and you don't question it. That's the Google. ChatGPT is the complete opposite of that. So I think that for those people that are not used to putting their point of view out there, having a point of view, it's something they're going to have to learn how to do. I personally find it very empowering. But yeah, you can absolutely, when ChatGPT gives you back a pile of garbage, tell it gave you a pile of garbage. And then what it'll often do is it'll give you another pile of garbage. And then what it forces you to do is go, well, wait a minute. Why do I think that's a pile of garbage? Oh, because it uses too many fancy words, and I don't like fancy words. Hey, ChatGPT, I don't like fancy words. And then it'll get better, right? So it kind of forces you to refine your point of view if you're willing to put it in there. But if you're not, then it's just going to keep giving you generic crap.
Yes, absolutely. Right? And then you're going to run around saying that ChatGPT sucks and isn't worth it, and that AI is a fad, and blah, 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 blah. It's with prompting, I really, really think it's pay me now or pay me later. You can feed your prompt up front, right? And just give it all the things it needs, or it's going to come like nipping and biting at you, wanting more, and you're going to be trying to cajole a good output from it, nudging it and like nurturing it. It's the same amount of time, it's the same amount of brain calories. Highly recommend pouring it all in first and going from there. And for the people who are worried about the, some folks get worried about the number of conversations that you're having, or the number of prompts that you're putting in, or using the word thank you and the impact that has on energy use. Okay, here's what I want to say. If you're worried about that, I hope that you have the squeakiest of cleanest and tiniest of carbon footprints in the other areas of your life. This is not where I would choose to focus on my footprint. But if you do want to do that, it's all the more reason to prompt well up front, so you're not cycling to get a good output. Just do it right the first time, and then you're going to have this lovely workflow in your conversation, and you'll be happier at the end. So feed your prompt.
Well, yeah, exactly. Let me give you. I added a slide in that I almost took out, and then I put it back in because I heard this. I think I heard this on one of my lives. It might have even been you that said it, but someone told me this. They were like, "Well, so let me give the context. We're neurospicy ADHDers, right? The speed of AI is intoxicating, right? So you sit down, you put in something, you get the answer. You put in something, you get another answer, right? It's intoxicating. If you want to get more mindful and intentional about putting your point of view in, putting you in, this is the slide I put in. When you sit down at ChatGPT, take a moment, pause, close your eyes, breathe, and ask yourself questions about What am I trying to accomplish? Who am I talking to? How do I want to impact them? What does success look like, right? Do an introspective little moment before you dive into the chat hole, and just check in with yourself about what do you want in this moment with ChatGPT. And I think if you get yourself a little bit centered about what would success look like in this little session, you'll approach it in a very different way. So don't just sit down and just throw anything in. Sit down and say, what's my intention here? And that little act, I think, will start to focus people to have more intentionality, a more singular point of view, the ability to go, oh, that's not what I wanted. I thought about this. I know what I want. That's not it. Hey, could you try it again until we get it right? So I'll throw that out there.
You know what?
Zen is the art of AI.
Exactly. It is Zen. That reminds me of that phrase of good, what is it? Clear writing is clear thinking, or good writing is clear thinking. And how you can, when you're just like,
when you just
running down a rabbit hole, you're just like, what is this assignment I'm working on? I don't know, but I'm doing it real well, and I'm doing it with gusto, but it's no longer the topic that I meant it to be. So yeah, I think taking that moment of pause, and some of this comes from Suzanne Walker-Juergens. Some of it actually comes from CJ Fletcher, when he was talking about visualizing in your head what art you might want to make.
I think it was CJ. That was the one. Take a moment, breathe before you dive.
Take a moment.
I think it was CJ. You're right. That's what it was, because I knew it was associated with you. I couldn't remember what it was. Yeah, exactly. And I like that, because it's like being in your person when you interact with this thing, and thinking of it as an amplifier of you. I think there's something there. So anyway, with that, we're about to bring up Christian. I'm really excited about Christian, but why don't you tell the good people about She Leads AI?
So the mission of She Leads AI is to unite accomplished women to advance AI for global prosperity, which is for sure a very serious agenda, and not an insignificant one. And also underneath that, we have a lot of fun going about it. So we have a She Leads AI Society, which is a delightful group of people. We gather on Mighty Networks. We have member jams. Yesterday we had one on make.com, which, love it or hate it. It exists. So we have member jams. we have secret sauce. It's a thing. That's how I feel about it. I'm like, here's how I do automations. I get somebody's Stripe account and I pay them money to do it.
Exactly.
We have fun social things every Saturday. All women in AI are invited to join us. We gather on Zoom from 10 a.m. to noon Pacific time, and we talk about it, kind of like this part, like with me and Kyle, like what's going on, what are you working on, how ready are you, and just enjoy ourselves together, feeling like we're in our tribe of people who understand where we're coming from. So She Leads AI. It's awesome, and I'm delighted to be a part of it.
It's a good thing. Yeah, it's really good. Yes. And similarly, the AI Salon, we created the week after ChatGPT came out. Leah Faston and I, she's a professional photographer out of Boston, started it really just as a way to have a conversation with people that are curious about AI. And curious about the future and how it impacts us and things like that. And we similarly, you've got She Leads AI Society, and we just started the AI Salon Mastermind, which is a tier where if people want to step up the conversation, have a more focused conversation, that's there, and it's launched and it's out there, and we're figuring it out and what we want it to be and what we want it to be when it grows up. And it's really, really exciting. So if you haven't checked out the salon, it's always free. The mastermind's there if you kind of want to step up the conversation, and do that. So like one of the things that I'm really excited about is that we've got a lot of crossover members, and it would be very easy for us to go in our corners and say, well, this is my community. This is my community. And one of the things that I've learned over and over again is that the cross-pollination of members of all these different communities is actually really, really important. In fact, one of one of Christian's best friends, Brent Peterson, is always on the my AI office hours, and so there's all these different connections. And when you're this early in something as transformative as AI, the more people you know that are figuring this out and looking at things through different lenses, it's the only way that I know that you can survive how fast this stuff is moving. So with that.
Absolutely. So check this out real quick. I know we're bringing Christian up in a second. Last night, I went to the OpenAI forum, which is now, I think anyone can join the forum. And they had a networking meeting for women. And what was so interesting, because think about this, this is OpenAI. It's a very large company. They have how many users? Granted, women in AI, subset, women in AI who are going to show up online, blah, blah, blah. But I knew probably, I'm going to guess there were fewer than 100 people there. And I knew probably 15 or 20 of the women who were there.
That's awesome. Yeah, this is still a really small world of people that are really paying attention to this stuff right now.
Yeah. Really make friends. Make friends, everybody.
All right. Well, listen, we're going to bring up Christian. I just want to say a few words before we bring him up. So Christian has spoken, I think, twice now at the AI Salon. He works out of Boulder. He'll tell you about what he does, but he is one of those guys that is like remarkably adept at AI and hyper aware of how to do what he does without AI. And he works in video post-production. So some of his customers hate AI and don't want him to touch it. Some of them want him to use it all the time. And he is really adept at living in that transition space between these two worlds. And so I think in terms of AI readiness, I think those people that can be translators for people who don't know AI, don't understand it, maybe hate it and come in, I think he's one of those guys. So I'm super excited to bring him up. So with that, Christian.
Hey, what's happening? How's everybody doing?
Good to see you, man.
Good to see you too. Thanks
for really appreciate you being here. Yeah, this is exciting.
Yeah.
So why don't you? Go ahead.
I have a little TV timeout. The people who are doing whatever is happening in our house, something related to my washing machine, I need to go ask them to lower their volume. So I'll be back in a couple of minutes.
Well, that's good. We'll get Christian talking about himself. So
there we go. Yeah, I can do that. I could do that all day. So
yeah, exactly. So yeah, why don't you tell us? Introduce yourself. Tell us, what you do, your background, and if you could give us just some context of like that spectrum. You and I had lunch. It was such an interesting conversation where you were like, I've got some clients that hate this stuff and some that love it, and where am I in this world? So just talk to us about who you are and what you do.
Absolutely. Well, great to see everybody. My name's Christian Robbins. I'm co-founder and chief creative officer of $11 Bill, which is where I'm at right now. And we're a post-production house, which means we do editing, motion graphics, VFX, color, audio, everything that happens basically after the production. So we've had this big opportunity.
Is that correct?
That is correct. Yes.
All right, good. There you go. I'll leave that up there.
Yeah. So, over the course of years, we've obviously had to, integrate new technologies into what we do. And, from standard def to high def, from, when Final Cut came in, red cameras, generative AI, HD, there's people who fear this, and then there's the others that try to figure out, okay, how will this help what I want to do? And what we really want to do is storytell.
Right.
So anything, and that's as basic as it gets, right? And I'm lucky enough to have had my entire career be in the creative industry, right? Like I grew up as an artist. I loved being creative. I used to draw comic books with my buddy Josh down the street. Met Brent in college, and he was more on the coding aspect and I was more on the After Effects and editing thing. And our paths always just merged, here and there. And now it's so fun to see what people are actually doing with this. And, I've been a pretty pragmatic guy over the years. We've been doing this for about, I've been doing this for over 25 years now. So I've seen a lot of things, become flash in the pans or become part of our workflow. And, to call it post-production now with what I've kind of tasked myself with is really kind of doing a disservice, right? Like it's more of it's more of what we used to call it. If anything, it's more of a, like a creative operating system these days, which is kind of an interesting approach, right? Because, Kyle, like you said, I mean, we've got clients, all the clients want to know about how to integrate this stuff into their workflows. And then, so I've spent my time, sticking my neck out there, right? Like I beta test anything, right? I love it. Like I'll break my laptop. I don't care what I do. Like I'm I'm chief creative officer, right? So I set the standard and the tone for what we do around the office. So once I figure out what works, I give the team a shortcut. So I break things so my team doesn't have to. So it keeps that floor high for everybody else. And we can try these new tools and not worry about it. So then if I can do that first step internally, it's a lot easier to do it externally. Right. Yeah. And to your point earlier about, some people love it, some people hate it. They all want it. Right.
Oh, interesting.
So, I recently wrapped up a project where it was this great use of a combination of stock and generative video assets, and the legal teams did not know what to do. But luckily, a lot of these big brands have phenomenal legal teams that kind of decipher and say, okay, well, if we do this, we're behind it. And what I'm finding is that a lot of my clients now, now that I've got this roster of work that I've done with a lot of these tools that are actually out there on broadcast, on the internet, it gets a lot easier for the buy-in to happen. And that's been my big challenge lately. It's not necessarily learning and implementing and using the tools. It's about how do you get client buy-in, from the ground up, which is, kind of the psychology of it, right? It's a new dance I have to do, but
that's huge.
Yeah. And it's, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Is there, you've been doing this for 25 years and you've had all these different technologies that come in that, it sounds like you're willing to jump in and figure it out. I assume some of those technologies historically, people have looked at them and said, oh, that's going to ruin the industry. And they're certainly saying that about AI right now.
Yeah.
And I'm curious, we always seem to navigate through it's going to ruin the industry and it doesn't ruin the industry. I'm curious if generative AI feels different to you in any way than other tech that's come before it.
Well, it's always been easy to say no to new tech, right? Like if I didn't want to use Final Cut to edit with, I could use Premiere, right?
Right.
They both did the same thing. They might have done them in a little bit different or more efficient way. This is kind of completely different, right? This isn't something I can just ignore, right? And it goes away, right?
Yeah, it's not just an improvement on the existing process. As you said, it's post-production isn't even the right term anymore, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It's more of a framework, right? Like this whole workflow, and that's where I like to bring everything back to. Like this traditional workflow, not just for me, but for any company, usually has a pretty linear set of in and out points, right? And what this has done is turned it into this sphere where things now bounce back and forth without any friction. So this traditional mindset that people are trying to, shove the square peg into the round hole now with is really confusing a lot of people. So this is where I think a lot of the fear comes in for people in my industry. And like I said, it's creative, right? Like, to your point earlier, Layton, about AI's amplifying taste, right? Like all we do is put our taste on screen. Like artists, all they do is just bare their soul,
right,
and put it out there. So, people see this as a really personal attachment. If there's something that's coming in that can do that for them, they think a lot of that personal touch that they add onto it won't be there anymore. It's not as simple as sitting down in front of an edit suite for, a week and coming up with art. Now it's more of a, kind of reverse engineered process where if you don't understand how this tool works, you're not going to give it what you are. And it's not going to make the things that you're capable of or past that, right? It's not going to amplify your creative vision. So, that's not it. So a lot of people think of this as, a bolt-on tool, right? Like this little thing will help me make this X amount of days, get off my schedule, this many hours a days. It goes beyond that now. And that's kind of the psychological trip of a lot of what's happening. It's new infrastructure, right?
Mm-hmm.
And people have to they can't be afraid of saying, you know what, this whole thing, got this big suite and all these studios around me right now, that could all go away. And we might need to dissolve and reinvent the whole thing. And like, that's kind of what we've done as a company because we're small over the years, adapt.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like you have to be okay with reinventing yourself. But it's not to say that you have lost any of like what made you great or useful, right? It's more along the lines of now here's a new way for me to express myself. And once you wrap your brain around it, the ability for you to express whatever it is you want becomes completely crazy.
It's so expansive, right? Like it just wherever you had limitations before, those just keep getting erased.
Yeah, and I think a lot of it too is you're teaching it what you value, right? And a lot of these tools, that we use, sure, we use ChatGPT, but we use a lot of generative AI tools, like, things for voiceovers, things for music, for generative imagery and video and VFX now, right? Like we have this buffet of stuff that we're just trying to get the most efficient point from A to B, right? So there's that part of it that clients love, got to turn stuff around quicker for cheaper. Story of my life, right? But you still need somebody who's got that, creative vision. And the ones that know these tools and how they work are the most dangerous people in the room because there's no barriers to what can be created anymore, right? Mm-hmm. And when those boundaries fall away, things that you imagine stop being theoretical. And you can start making really crazy, weird stuff now, which is what we're trying to do. And you got to bring that back to, your internal workflow, right? And, your creative ops, like how, what does your team need to do, right? Like it's not, you can't hire your way into this mindset, right? Like, you need to structure teams more like modular systems, right? And they kind of morph around the projects and, our editors are editors again, I'm not even sure if that's the right word any longer because they're just building entire audio visual worlds themselves, right? Like they're making their own imagery, they're making their own video. Boy, I wish I had this this thing to edit with. Okay, I'll just make it real quick. And then you've turned this into like not a client vendor relationship. You've turned this into a room full of people that have no hindrances, that are all creative.
How has that, you've been doing this long enough now that I assume that there are people who were good at that transition or who made that transition swiftly or completely. And there were probably those that resisted it. I'm curious, who are the people that succeeded and who are the people that maybe flamed out because of this shift? Or like, I don't know enough about your organization to know, but like, what advice would you give to like, who to keep versus who to let go? Like, what are the attributes of the ones that are turning into your rock stars?
Yeah. I mean, like we've got like one rule here and it's just, we don't hire assholes. And that's really all you need to make it successful in business. So
that's great.
The absence of the ego, lets people, try and learn, adapt, fail, and
you have to let go of it to adapt. You have to let go of the thing that you held so precious before, right? That's totally an ego thing.
Yeah. And it's just that safety, that psychological safety of like, oh, my craft is so precious that if a new tool comes in and takes me out the legs, does that mean that I'm not creative anymore? So like, we just don't surround ourselves with that type of, mentality here at the office. If anything, it's far more open. And there you go. The rise of the generalist. Yeah. My buddy Brent came up with that. So I mean, that's essentially what has always made, creative's really good at least, or anybody in any industry, is somebody who understands the worlds outside of what they're good at. And, you know, maybe they're interested in a particular portion of it. Now we've got the ability to take something that could be of interest and turn it into blow it up as a big hobby for them, and then turn that into something that they can bring back in and feel this empowerment where learning is now part of the creative process, instead of, you know, this traditional go be an intern, you know, maybe get a crappy job,
right.
You know, make some social media content. Maybe one day you'll be great, you know.
Be great now. Be great over the weekend. Come in Monday with a film.
Exactly.
Okay, so let's shift gears. So we'll do our 3 questions. So I'll go first this week. So we ask all of our speakers the same 3 questions. So let me tee up the first one, and that's this. And this can be really interesting with you. What was the moment, or, you know, what was the insight or the moment that you realized you had to go all in on AI? And then what's it been like since then?
When I saw that we could start making our own video, right? Like it started with images, you know, we got really into 𝗪𝗵𝘆 𝗧𝘂 and understanding how all of those checkpoints work, and, you know, getting big horsepower machines to run stuff locally. And then I'm like, you know what, this is going to totally just turn into something web-based that I can just log into. And you know, I got to know how this stuff works, like, before I start saying, you know, I'm going to put the brakes on it. I'll wait till something better comes out.
Yeah.
How am I going to even know how to interface with it if I don't understand the basics of what it does, right? And then a video component to 𝗪𝗵𝘆 𝗧𝘂 came out, and I made something for one of our clients from it. I'm like, listen, this is going to be the worst it's ever going to look. And I think, like, you know, that's a Kyle Shannon line right there, right? And I use that all the time. Thanks, Kyle. But today's the worst it's ever going to look. So I give them this, like, you know, compared to today's standards, very rudimentary. But what they saw with what I built with their images, it became kind of a game changer, right? And I was pushing hard, right? Like I would.
And they didn't see the imperfections, or did they did, but they forgave them.
They did, yeah. And they were like, "This is cool. I'm not sure how to use this yet."
Oh, interesting.
But what it did was put that, you know, bug in their brain, like, okay, these guys are doing something a little bit differently than everybody else, right? And that turned into, you know, just experimental stuff, you know, to more a different kind of relationship with our client, where now they come to us with experimental, random stuff, big problems, you know, that have no apparent solution. And we're all just of the mindset, like, all right, cool, we'll figure it out along the way, right? Yeah. And that's a fun place to be. Like, that's getting to that moment. And then once you hit that moment, now it's like, all right, we're all in, and I'm going to advocate for the usage of all this stuff for every client. I'm going to go out and do talks and It became a thing for myself as well at that point.
Sorry.
No. Okay. For real?
Yeah.
It's on me. Okay, good. So, you've alluded to it a couple of times, but I wanted to dig a little bit deeper into, and I do have one of the 3 questions, and I will ask that next, Kyle. So calm down.
I'm just winging it here. I'm trying to figure out.
I'm winging it too. All we're doing.
All right. So what you just described is this juicy combination of a client who's down for an adventure with a company that's like super down for adventure. And so then you can have this really great like we're working together on like common ground here. Like we're all learning. We're on this crazy, you know, ride where today is the worst it's ever going to be, and we need to accept that. Someone had asked earlier, though, what is it like during that process when you're in conversation with a prospective client? And this kind of, I'm also layering some of my own stuff in there, is I know that I might to the untrained ear, to somebody who's outside of the AI bubble, I almost sound like a crazy person, right? When I'm saying, here's what you can expect, right? First, you'll save an hour, then you'll save 2 hours. Soon, soon you're going to be saving money. Soon you're going to be making more money. And I say numbers, and it's like, if I heard me talk, I would think this lady is like a snake oil salesperson in those, but I also know, like, organically, genuinely, this is the way it works. Like, this is one thing I know, is that if you learn how to use this, you're going to be hella better off. Right. So when you're in these conversations with prospective clients and you're trying to get them to like see what it might be like to work with you, are you doing a lot of buyer education in those conversations, more so than just like pushing buttons to make buyers make decisions?
100% education. And like, that's the first step of the process. So, part of what I've learned to be good at over the years is explaining really complex shit to people in a way that I think that they can understand. So not every, I don't speak to every client the same way. I know some of my clients I'm not even going to bother with yet. Right.
Yes. Same. Like,
but I've got some that have a little foot in the door with, who have seen what we've done for other clients, and they get a little jealous, and they're like, well, how'd you do that? And it's like, well, so I'm just,
sure you don't ask a question you don't want to know the answer to.
Yeah. And what I'm kind of realizing is that, like, a lot of these conversations, I'm just kind of, with clients, I'm kind of getting tired of hearing the same shallow stuff, right?
Yes.
Like, it's about, like, I want to have a place where we can actually show people how we integrate this stuff, usable tools, right, into our workflow, and show them. So I open the door a little bit for some clients, and I like swing it wide open for others, right? And being able to do that dance in between each of those steps is part of my job. But I really enjoy bringing somebody in and doing a job like this for the first time, or not even talking about it, not even trying to pitch it and say, I'll be in the middle of an edit and say, I can do that. I'll just do that right now. And then we'll just make the asset, and it'll be video, and I'll just drop it right in. And they're like, well, you're a warlock. What is that? And I'm like, that's what we do around here, man. Like, so it's kind of like, it's a little bit of a curve, right? To get people that buy-in. But like, once you start, it does not stop.
Right.
Like,
exactly.
Yeah.
This is Kyle reminding me that we have another question that I have to slide into, which is, based on what based on like your unique perspective on the world, what are the AI trends that you're paying the most attention to?
So for me, I mean, specifically, it's a lot of video, music, and voiceover generation. Those models are getting really, really, really good.
Oh my God. I mean, like, talk to some of the ones that you think are shifting into, it's beyond usable. Like, it's getting very good.
The thing is, for me, there's a lot that is just absolutely incredible, wonderful to work with, but legally I can't work with it. So for instance, if I like Hailu, right, out in China, I don't know where that stuff's scraping from. That's one of my favorites, right? VO3 scraping the library of YouTube. Like, can I legally use that yet? Like, I don't know. And if I have a bit of doubt about it, I can't. I can't with full buy-in as a company say, I'm going to use this tool and it's going to be awesome. It's the latest, greatest, hottest stuff. Like, for me, I hate pumping the brakes like that, because I want to use the stuff. I want to beta test it. I want to do that. I want to throw in a commercial, but I really got to dial things back. So, what I'm doing is trying to build models based off of client IP. So then things are created from what they've already made, right? Not like, let's just generate something and get it from the ether and here it is. It's more of like, hey, here's some past visual cues to help you do what I'm about to prompt right now. And the level of comfortability with that is much, much higher than us just like going on a web browser with the client in the room, and saying, does that one look good? Does that one look good? Right? Like, there's a lot more to it. But we've used them in ways that the client is aware of, that, and it's a full transparency anytime we're doing anything, right? We're, we'll build, custom voiceover models based off of prompts, that they give us from like scripts, raspy, old smoking, 50-year-old lady with a little rye in her voice, right? Or vocal fry in her voice. Those are prompts from a script that I could just like knock out. Like, here's 6 different variants from 11 labs, pick one that you like and let's have it give us an audition. And that time, like, savings is like a pretty cool thing for them. It's more of like an efficiency thing. So we don't have to wait another day to get things back from the VO talent, or wait around for scratch VOs to come in and then go through and pick one. Like, the efficiency stuff is really great for people to see, like, on an instantaneous basis, like while we're in the room. And then there's that other end of things where we're like making custom models for people, right? And developing content based off of that. And that takes a little bit longer, but every day that gets a little shorter and shorter and shorter. So it's going to be easy to do the dance with somebody in the room and come up with anything that we possibly want. So
yeah, it's amazing. One of the things I notice is calling them my acting training, that when we're doing video personas, it's like, oh, I know what I want that voice to sound like. Like, it's like you design the person, you design the voice, and you get them to act like you want them to act. You can just design it. It's staggering. All right, final question. And this is the biggie. This is the name of the podcast, AI Readiness Project. What does AI readiness mean to you? And especially for someone just getting into the game, what's your advice for someone just getting started with all this AI stuff?
I mean, it's just, don't be afraid to experiment. Like people are so worried about failure, that it just stops everything that they think after that point. It's this fear paralysis. It's like an imposter syndrome, that they don't think they're good enough to learn new tools or try things and fail, and then what, right? So you can either say, I tried ChatGPT and it just didn't really, it's kind of weird. But then once you realize what you can do with it and how you can begin to train it to get what you want out of it, it's the basis of all of our, AI tools that are out there right now. And I think also, just remembering, like, direction over speed, right? Like, I know we're talking a lot about efficiencies here, and that's cool. And in a business setting, people like seeing and hearing that. What it doesn't detract from is the quality of the content that you're putting out. Like, you do got to steer the ship, right? And if you're just like letting a loose fire hose go and then hoping that it's going to make cool shit, that's the wrong POV. And if your goal is to cut costs, it'll totally do that. If your goal is to get like richer, faster, weirder, more collaborative, creative, it's going to do that too. It's just basically up to you. So you got to kind of be honest about like what kind of use you want out of it. What what kind of creative, like for me, what kind of creative company would I want to be? And it just kind of accelerates that direction that you've already chosen. So
Yep. Beautiful. Well, this has been awesome.
It's been fun. Thanks for having me.
I know these hours go by a little
way too fast.
Yeah. I'll come back anytime you guys want.
This is great.
I had a good time getting to know you just by your background. It was super fun to get to know you here. And I really just want to kind of shout you out for what you're doing in your company by being the person who, first of all, can break their laptop, because you're going to go buy the new one, and you're paying the person who's going to get it all set up for you. Like, you have the autonomy to break the laptop, and by you making those mistakes, and also, especially people look to you and probably expect you to have a certain level of like standard and perfection, and everything that Christian does is the shit and everything. But if you're coming into a meeting with, earlier career people who may be feeling intimidated, or people who have never had the opportunity to take such risks, and you're saying, I did this and look at this mess I made, or, my computer started on fire, or I accidentally uploaded a whole bunch of whatever. The impact of that on the lives of the people who you work with is significant. it's not just the output that you're, the outcome for that current client. It's like their whole career trajectory by you being that kind of leader. So kudos, tip my cap to you for that.
Hey, thanks so much. I really appreciate the compliment. So they all make me look good too. I got to keep up with.
I'm sure.
That's what this is all about. Oh, can I plug one little thing real quick? Would you mind at all? Yeah, I'm heading to Vegas in August. I got invited to speak at the AI4 conference at August 12th. So I'm gonna be there, spouting off, and it's gonna be great because we got people to learn from. Like Jeffrey Hinton's gonna be there.
Nice.
𝗪𝗵𝘆 𝗧𝘂 I'm a Jane. Like everybody.
Oh,
yeah, it's pretty awesome. So I'm thrilled to be a part of it. And I think I've got like a 30-minute slot to try to fit all this stuff I was talking about with you all.
Yeah, exactly. Good luck with that. And what's the conference called?
It's called AI4, like AI4.io.
Okay, great.
Yeah. Okay.
And if you dig real deep, you can find Christian Robbins in there. So.
You're not quite headlining yet, huh?
I'm not yet.
Not in that group, but yeah.
Not yet.
All right. Cool. Great seeing you, man.
Thanks, guys. See you later.
Hey,
Bye.
Thank you all
Bye,
so
everybody.
much. Bye.